Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And it's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer, Donald Patak. It's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and no, my content may not be used to train AI LLMs. Keys to the reading, because I do read differently. First, I read what's called constellation-based astrology. You'll sometimes have it called true sidereal or true sky astrology. It is astrology by the visible sky. In ancient times, astrologers were astronomers. They did their astrology by asking where's the planet in the sky really, and then interpreting that. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons when Aries was at 0 degrees on the horizon and left it there. However, true sky astrology, whatever constellation, is how we determine our astrological ages. And when you're reading the visible sky, you get 13 signs, not 12. Between Scorpio and Sagittarius is another sign. The sign's called the fucus, the symbols of a person holding a snake by the head and tail. And in ancient times, the snake symbolized knowledge. So you're grasping knowledge by the head and the tail, controlling knowledge, and according to the various mythos, using that knowledge to heal yourself so you can heal others with similar wounds. So there's that. And in the visible sky, the signs are all different sizes. And we'll see that this week with Virgo, with Virgo moon. Virgo is just under 50 degrees versus Libra, Aries, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, I think Cancer are each less than 25. So the visible sky, the constellations are all different sizes. There are astrologers who try to make them all 30 degrees. That exists on paper, not in the real world. And I use what are called astrological midpoints as opposed to the IAU boundaries. The IAU boundaries are kind of arbitrarily drawn, and Athan Shemenzi noticed this when he was doing some exploring in astronomy software, and he found that there were stars from Scorpio pushed into the constellation of Fucus. He said that's not the way it's supposed to be. So he went into the zodiac belt. What was the last bright star of constellation A, first bright star constellation B? What's the midpoint? And went with that. So I do like that. I think it's more accurate and also more responsible. Keys to reading part 2. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says these transits are lessons to learn. And with that, you have freedom of choice as to how you're going to work with them. You can learn what I call the ideal outcome or what I call the shadows. There's the high road and the low road, whatever you want to call it. But the key is that you have freedom of choice on how you're going to work with these opportunities. And this is the weekly edition, so these are universal lessons for everybody. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Date and time are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm operating within 1 degree of exact because that makes it manageable for me. And I did try to do it with wider orb and make it 2-3 degrees or what was used in my astrology classes. I was overwhelmed. If I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. So this keeps it manageable. And the software I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus. Do pay attention to the ISAA website as they will be doing a re-release of Capricorn. And they're working with, I believe his name is Gavin, to redevelop, to get the software developed and available again. It's awesome software, honestly. So these are the weekly transits. I screwed this up. Had that in my notes. For April 27th, God, through May 3rd, 2026. Had that in my notes. I'm having a week. My two cats got into a fight and I forgot to put my heavy leather gloves on to separate them. So I'm operating my right hand with 2 fingers. So this presentation is going to be different, just to warn you. Still usable. It's just I don't have all the fancy slides the way I normally would. So the sun is in Aries. You're learning to have courage. The moon, it's not as busy as it sounds because it does transit into Virgo on Monday. So it is a Leo beginning, but then right into Virgo, and it's in Virgo most of the week. We don't get into Libra until Friday. So Friday evening at that. So it's actually a fairly stable week. And we do have the full moon in Virgo on May 1st, and that will be happening at 1:07 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time. Our active planets of the week, it's actually the active planet of the week, is Venus. And sign change, we have Mercury entering Aries. We have no long transits and no retrograde planets. And I have to fix one thing up, so hold on one second. Wasn't sure if I had this right slide here. Better safe than sorry. So this is our week, and as you can see, it doesn't have a whole lot going on. There's one thing that it didn't put in that I am going to interpret. But anything above this dotted line are transits from last week. So we do have some holdovers. We begin the week with some holdovers before we get into the new transits. But as you can see, two here, one here. It's actually, and we do have that Venus or Mercury entering Aries on Sunday. Friday, early afternoon, we have the full moon in Virgo. Relatively calm week. Let's start with the moon, though. On Monday after, it starts with Leo, and on Monday afternoon, we do enter Virgo, and it's Virgo all until Friday, later in the day, Friday. It enters Libra, and then it goes Libra until Sunday morning, where it enters Scorpio. So emotionally, this week here is a fairly steady and stable week, which can be a good thing. And like I said, we do have the full moon in Virgo on Friday afternoon, and that's the sun in Aries opposite the moon in Virgo. The one transit that's not in here is anytime Venus is square to the north node, it's going to be square to the south node. Normally I draw that in, I forgot to, but then again, trying to manipulate my hand, not very good. But again, it's aside from that, what do we have? We have a lot of the new transits, Venus. So that plus the south node makes fourth Venus transits right there, plus a holdover from last week. That's it. It's going to be a week where you're focusing on developing your relationships. Venus also, for me, covers creativity in the arts. So if you're an artistic person, we'll be developing those talents. And then finally, Venus is about the ability to rest and recuperate. So if you feel really driven, this might be a week to slow it down a little bit. We do have one Mercury transit ending and a new one with Mercury conjunct Chiron. It's there. So do be aware of that. But otherwise, this week is a relatively calm week. Now, this is where, okay, no, actually, let me clear. On close. So from last, oh no, wait a minute, I gotta escape. Now I'm going to jump all the way down here. I wasn't even going to try doing some things with my hand the way it was, or the way it is actually. There we go. So from last week, we have the Sun in Aries trining the North Node in Leo. So trining the North Node, the Sun in Aries, whoops, sorry. Wow. Trining the South Node in Leo. The Sun in Aries is you're learning to have the courage to be yourself. A trine is a support. And in this respect, with the South Node in Leo, you're becoming aware of how you hold yourself down with pointless drama. A key with the sun here is understanding what your natal sun is so that you're learning to have courage to be your natal sun. And so, for example, I am a Taurus sun. I would be learning how to have the courage to be that Taurus sun. And with the South Node in Leo, what's the pointless drama? Look to the natal South Node. My natal South Node is in Virgo, so it's about perfectionism and planning things out. And how do I hold myself down and back? So this transit here is helping you to understand how you hold yourself down and back with pointless drama so that you can move forward. The shadow here is Sun in Aries falls into fear, and that can come across as anger. It can come across as cowardice, and that fuels pointless drama and insecurities. And that drama can be the drama king, drama queen acting up and out or trying to hide away. And I'm also going to pop in here the sextile to the North Node. And we did talk about the having the courage to be yourself. And that sextile is an interest to the North Node in Aquarius. And that is making your life's purpose authentic to you. And for me, I use myself as an example. My North Node's in Pisces, so it's learning about my own spirituality. So what's my authentic spirituality? Learning that, practicing that. The shadow here again is falling into fear, and that excitement becomes a sense of nervousness. So instead of me fulfilling my own destiny, I'm giving that power away to other people and meeting other people's expectations in some way, shape, manner, or form. Also on Friday, we have the moon in Leo, and what the moon's learning here is emotional self-expression. So it's learn how to express what you're feeling to others and being seen and appreciated for that. And appreciated for who you are. The shadow here is the moon in Leo can be a drama queen and drama king and playing and overacting things and making making mountains out of molehills. Or it can be that person who's trying to hide away and not be seen at all. Saturday, we do have Venus in Taurus sextiling Neptune in Pisces. So Venus, like I said, is about relationships. So it's finding the calm and the strength that comes from relationships, or it's about your creativity and finding your natural creativity, or it's just learning to take a rest and relax. And the sextile, again, is an interest. And how is that helping to create that interest in your spirituality? Neptune in Pisces, don't just do something, be there. So how is being with other people? Are you learning to be present with other people? Are you learning to be present with your art, whether it's in a physical medium or music? Or are you just learning to be present as you're taking a break, forgetting about the past, don't worry about the future, and just being here now and finding the peace that comes in this moment? The shadow here, Venus, can be slick and manipulative. It can be lazy. And instead of chilling out, it's doing that all-night party session and coming into work the next day wasted. Not good. Sextile is a sense of nervousness, and then Neptune in Pisces is just trying to hide away and escape, and it's falling into idle fantasies. So you think let's face it, I'm in my late 50s. I am not going to party like I am in my 20s. And we also have Mercury in Pisces squaring Jupiter in Gemini. And this little kitten's staying quiet in my lap. Thank you. Mercury in Pisces is spiritual learning, paying attention to what's going on in your life spiritually. A square is a challenge whose purpose is to strengthen you. And what is strengthening is the opportunity to learn and the opportunity to communicate. And by doing that, it can help build a healthy self-confidence. Whoops. And it can strengthen your self-confidence and self-worth. The shadow here is getting mentally lost and distracted, disorganized. And the square, instead of a challenge that strengthens you, is a stumbling block that crushes you. And that fuels a crisis in confidence, overconfident or underconfident. And it helps to perpetuate this false image of your abilities. From Sunday, we have that take a break. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit differently because I really screwed up my hand, like I said, is messed up. I have to soak it twice a day in Epsom salts, in addition to putting all this stuff on it and everything so it doesn't infect. Not fun. And trying to navigate all the artistry that it takes to make that wonderful PowerPoint slide. Come on, you can do it. Oh, no, it doesn't want to cooperate. Hold on a second. There we go. There we go. Quite honestly, Zoom does eat up quite a bit of computing power. Let me close this out. That'll help. Here we go. This is workable. So I'm going to do it the way I did it a long time ago before I did that, just because it's manageable. First thing we have is the Venus T-square. We have the South Node in Leo. We have the North Node in Aquarius. And Venus is literally here caught between a rock and a hard place. The ideal of Venus is you're finding peace and stability in your relationships, or you're finding peace in your art or in your music, or just being able to relax. And a square is a challenge. The challenge is to become aware of how you hold yourself back with pointless drama. And so that's that when you're aware of that, it strengthens you to be able to act differently and change. And also, the other challenge is to become more authentic and fulfill your mission. How are you making friend relationships with people who can help you realize your mission and help you fulfill in a way that's authentic and true to you? How can other people help you develop your own artistic sense, whether it's in the physical medium or music? Or last but not least, who is it good just to hang out and chill out with? That's the ideal. All this, ideally, if it works out, strengthens your relationships, your creativity. You can feel rested and rejuvenated, and you become more aware of how you hold yourself back so you can turn away from it, and you become more authentic. Your shadow here. Venus is slick, manipulative, lazy. So it's trying to control people in its relationships. And in doing that, it's not doing real artwork. It's using AI to do stuff for it, but it's copying, it's being a ripoff, or it's that all-night party animal who can't handle it anymore. And the square, instead of being a strengthening response, becomes a stumbling block and a crushing burden. So the South Node in Leo now becomes that pointless drama. I can handle my liquor. Yeah, right. Tell that to the bushes. Or, of course, I created this song. No, that's an amalgam of 4 different songs. And that North Node in Leo and North Node in Aquarius, instead of you fulfilling your destiny, you're letting other people tell you what they think it should be, and you're doing that. And this all just, instead of strengthening you, it caves in on you. And instead of finding peace and stability, you find that, the bull comes out of the the bull comes into the china shop, and it can either be a raging mess, or it can just be lazy, flop down, and you know what? Just lead it off to the slaughterhouse. Hate to use that analogy, but it does make sense. And we're going to add on top of that. Hold on, where's my... Okay, I got to close this out. Because there we go. We now have a trine to my favorite planet, Pluto. So we did say Venus is about finding strength and stability in relationships, creativity, and art. Pluto in Capricorn is doing the work of transformation. It's taking those ideas and those inspirations, because Capricorn is the sea goat. So it's part seal. So it's taking the inspiration water and it's making it real. The goat that climbs the mountain and takes on that challenge. So this is the hard work of transformation. So as you're working with your relationships, your creativity, or resting, it's helping you find interest, it's helping you to find support in the transformations that you need to do. Some people don't like to use the word need, but the transformations that are being placed before you. Okay, take that. And that's inner transformation. And trines are an easy energy to work with. So if you put in a little bit of effort, a little effort goes a long way. However, in the shadow, it tries a slippery slide downhill fast. So if you're trying to be slick and manipulative and controlling things, you're doing that all-night party session, it's a quick slide downhill into Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto, cynicism, nihilism, deeply wounding. Capricorn can be a control freak, which leaves them feeling lonely and isolated. So it can be, you can come out feeling hurt, cynical, and empty, and life can seem darker. Let me close this. Oh, and I got to clean this up. Clear, close out. I'm going to move this down here. Okay, now I want to make sure I get my moon transits right here. So that's Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday, we don't have any new transits, just working with those transits. So remember to take a pause and a breath. On Thursday, late in the day, we do get Venus sextiling Saturn. Oh, come on, you can do it. And you know what? I'm just going to leave it there. Oops, I need this. There we go. Okay, not the greatest straight line. Okay, then again, Venus we talked about, strengthening relationships, finding peace in relationships, your creativity, also being able to take a rest. Sextile is an interest in what? Spiritual maturity. Saturn in Pisces is about spiritual maturity and spiritual growth. So how are your relationships, creativity, even taking a rest, helping you to grow and mature spiritually? Shadow here, being slick and manipulative, creates a sense of nervousness and has you feeling cynical, pessimistic. Saturn can be that proverbial control freak. It rules Capricorn, so it's very understanding. Nervousness, sense of failure, pessimism. And it's in Pisces, which is about illusion and self-deception. It's also about trying to escape. But you're feeling cynical and trying to escape something that you really can't. Clear all drawings. Close this out. Okay. And Friday about here. It's not showing up, but I'm not going to pull up the other one. Because it happens about 1307, and I've got it at 1309. There's your full moon in Virgo. It's right there on that cusp. I mean, just a little bit later, and it would have been a full moon in Libra. But it's the full moon in Virgo. So Virgo, the desire to improve, get better, is reflecting and balancing the desire to act. So this is what you're trying to reflect on. How is this desire to improve helping to support your ability, or reflect on that? How is that helping to support your desire to become more of who you are? I have cats climbing around. I have to check which cat it is. Actually, I'm kind of doing this out of order. But yeah, and there's that. The shadow here is Virgo slips into worry, and they're going to throw life out of balance and driving you into acting out of fear, either anger or cowardice. So it can create that type of a mess. Let me clear the drawings. I did forget to talk about, oops. Oh, it's still there. I can talk about it. It's right here. Mercury conjunct Chiron, learning to heal. And learning to hear what? Spiritually. So you're learning to heal your ability to be present and in the moment. Okay, that's smoky. So learning to heal, be present and in the moment. And by healing those wounds, you can release the wounds. Excuse me. And and also, healing the way you think, healing the way you perceive. Let's face it, we all have ways we see things, and this is and Pisces is about transcending and rising up and seeing things from a different perspective. So as you're learning to see things from different perspective, how is that a healing experience? And how is that helping you to release wounds? The shadow here is that mental distraction, that being unfocused and being distracted, meant that mental rigidity and being defensive lead to a resistance to healing or a deeper wounding of yourself, and it's possible to wound others. This could potentially be, this is one of two ways that I say words can wound. Certainly, you can use your knowledge of, pick a choice. We've all seen people, you say the wrong thing and ruin a relationship. This is one place that it could happen. And what's Mercury doing with Chiron? Okay, so let me clear this out. And then, here we go. I got to pull that out of the way. We have the moon in Libra. TGIF, time to calm down and take a break. Open up to different perspectives, let situations be ambiguous. And that's what that's what Libra is good for. There's if you think you know both sides, if you all you have is one side of a story, you're missing a lot of information. There's always a lot more out there. I always have students joke that they say heads or tails, and somebody always wants to call out sides because it can land on its side if you throw it just right. So this is about finding perspective, taking a break, calming down, letting life just balance itself out. The shadow here is you can let it get too far out of balance and become indecisive. And this can leave you feeling lost and drained. Okay, Saturday, nothing is happening. So let me clear all that. Sunday morning, I'm just going to close this. I'm going to move that back there. There we go. Sunday morning, we do have the moon entering Scorpio. We do have two things. We're going to talk first about the moon in Scorpio, emotional depth and intensity. So open up to facing your own deep truths and your own deep personal truths. And it's time also to be honest with yourself. Be aware of powerful moods and what are they trying to tell you. The moods themselves are not bad. So when you ignore what they're trying to tell you, that they become bad. So pay attention to the mood. What's the underlying cause? Oh, gee whiz, somebody stepped on my toe, and it's like fourth time this week that somebody has done that and not apologized for it. Okay, that's why I'm getting a little angry and upset. But pay attention to your moods. What are they trying to tell you? What can you learn from them? Explore them deeper, because it's not just he's angry. Why is he angry? Know that. The shadow here is falling into that perpetual rotten moon, letting situations get out of control and also overcomplicating situations. That's one. And the other situation that we have is Mars squaring Jupiter. Mars in Pisces, having the courage to be spiritual. Sometimes people call this being the spiritual warrior, having the courage to act your spirituality and do your spiritual practices. I'm not preaching religion here. Those are the rules of man. I'm asking about your own personal practices. So, and how is that strengthening for you, the opportunity to learn and communicate? Because Jupiter is opportunity, and by doing that, you develop self-confidence in your knowledge, self-confidence in your ability to share what you know. And so that can be a strengthening experience. The shadow here is I call it the spiritual bully. or the religious bully. You don't go to my church. Well, you're not in the right church and you're condemned to eternal perdition, whatever. So it's that religious holy warrior in a way, my way or the highway type of situation. And it can also be spiritual fear, you're not confident in what you believe. So, so not, yes, you're not sure of what you believe. It's a fear of religion. Sometimes I call this atheism. It can be, it ties sort of into agnosticism. But it's that and it's all based on illusion and delusion. So it's falling into fear based on misperception. And the square, instead of being a strengthening situation, it's a stumbling block that fuels this crushing burden. And it creates with Jupiter and Gemini, that's a crisis in confidence in your ability to learn and in your ability to communicate. There's that person who's going to sit down and talk for 10 hours and not say anything. And thinking that they've really convinced people what they believe, and everybody's like, shut up. I've unfortunately run into that. So be careful of being intimidated into silence or lashing out in anger and rage. And again, this is another place words and information can become weapons. It's one of the ways that happens. And also, wait a minute. Oh, also in this situation here with Mercury, with Mars squaring Jupiter, knowledge can seem superficial. You're acting out of fear, so your knowledge seems superficial and shallow. And the other thing that's happening on Sunday up here in Aries, we have Mercury entering Aries. So Mercury entering Aries. Having the courage to pursue your interests and speak out on them when appropriate. Also having the strength to follow your curiosities. The shadow here is falling into fear. And it's not following your curiosity, it's doing what other people tell you to do, or it's lashing out in anger. And this really here, words as weapons, definitely could happen. Instead of healing, so healing, and you're just outside of orb of Chiron, that Chiron there on 1 degree, still there. But with Mercury and Aries, the shadow here is definitely words that can wound and words that can hurt, and angry words, arguments, etc. So do be careful of that. And let me clear that up. Close this out. Close this out, minimize that, go back to, right here, slideshow, current slide. So till my hand heals up, that's probably how I'm going to do my readings. Do follow me. I am on the Facebook, Instagram, and you're watching this on YouTube. These three here are making billions of dollars off your data. You're not getting much, if any of it, if you get anything at all. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Networks. You control your data, whether it's even linked to you or not, or even if it can be shared. And when they do share data, they don't link it to you. It's like, yeah, here's some information people on this website have gone to here. So that's there. It's an incredible, I call it the spiritual safe space on the internet. I do astrology. There are people who do crystals, tarot, a wide variety of healing modalities, a wide variety of spirituality practices. It's just incredible, the discussions that happen. There's a free version, there's a paid version. When you join, you get a month of the paid version, and then you have to decide whether you want to do the paid version or not. The free version gets you limited access, but you're still getting some pretty good information, and you're invited to all the events, I believe, that happen. It's an incredible place to go, and all the money that goes into that for your membership goes into supporting and paying for the bills for the site. They don't do any advertising, etc. They don't allow advertisers on the site, so it's an advertisement-free site. There are a few people who do pay to have their businesses hosted on, not hosted, but at least be able to have a business page on the site. Those businesses are paying to be there. It's not just you can throw anything you want up. but it's a great place to hang out, ask questions. It's a troll-free zone, 4 great moderators that help keep the peace. I also do astrology readings if you want to see how your chart changes from tropical to quick six key points. I do the birth chart or natal chart reading, whichever you want to call it. They both mean the same thing. In evolutionary astrology, your birth chart is your birth contract. It's who you came here to become. So it's beginning with the end in mind. You didn't come here as a Taurus. I didn't come here to become a Taurus. Or I didn't come here as a Taurus. I came here to learn how to be a healthy Taurus. And then I also do what's called a karmic or a past life reading. People understand, why does this situation happen to me? The karmic reading or past life reading can tell you what's happening and why. What's the pattern? And then more importantly, how to heal it. And then I do horoscopes 1 year, any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And that can be new moon to new moon, or first of the month to the end of the month. And I do have packages that combine these things. So do like, follow, share, and sign up for the newsletter. If you do go on my website, you get this pop-up and an email address. It's a once-a-week free newsletter. Excuse me. And if you happen to close that out, you'll see a black button in the upper right corner that says subscribe. Just click on subscribe. Again, all I need is an email. So do like, follow, share. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much. Have a great week. And hopefully this heals up fast.